Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 10. To whom shall I speak and give warning that they may hear? Behold, their ear is uncircumcised, and they cannot hearken. Behold, the word of the Lord is unto them a reproach. They have no delight in it. So first and foremost, let's give all praises to Yahawah, Bahashem Yahawah Shai, Bahashem Rakak Kwadash. Double honor to the elder apostles and bishops of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth. Salutations to the brothers around the four corners of the earth who are teaching this word in truth and sincerity. And shalom to the hopeful elect, a few men, women, and children that believe in this word. This is your brother Kawat Sabah coming at you again with another lesson. This one is entitled, The Word of the Lord is unto the 2/3 a reproach. And the 2/3 is referring to our people, so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans here in Babylon, America, and scattered throughout the world like the sand of the seashore. The 2/3 represents those who are not going to hearken to this word, who are not going to come back to the Lord, who are not going to repent and convert and give their life to righteousness under the banner of course, Yahawah Shai, who has brought us back to the Father via his sacrifice. So 2/3 of our people, this word, this true word of Yahawah Bashem Yahawah Shai is a reproach. Let's get a definition of the word reproach. It says here, the expression of rebuke or disapproving. So many of our people rebuke this word or disapprove, once upon them learning that you have to change your life. You have to put off sinning, committing adultery, which is fornication, lying, stealing. Basically, you have to put off evil, wicked things, as well as you have to stop eating pork, crustaceans, shrimp, and things of that nature. So many of our people, upon hearing this word, they have an expression of what? Rebuke or disapproving of this true gospel of Yahawah Bashem Yahawah Shai. Here's another definition: a cause or occasion of blame, discredit, or disgrace. And right now, the Hebrew Israelites, and particularly those who are in Great Millstone or affiliated with Great Millstone, who have the 100% truthful doctrine of Yahawah Bashem Yahawah Shai from elder apostles to Har on down. So many scoffers are what? Discrediting or also looking upon us with disgrace, you see, for someone to blame. It's those Hebrew Israelites because they don't want to come back to the Lord. They don't want to put off their wickedness. So this word is seen as a reproach to 2/3 of our people. Let's read this again. Jeremiah 6 and verse 10. To whom shall I speak and give warning that they may hear? And it doesn't matter if the people will listen or not. Those of us who are prophets, who have the sure word of prophecy, our job is to what? To give the people warning, to repent and convert, to warn them of the upcoming destruction of Babylon, America, to warn them of Jacob's trouble, the calamity that's going to happen here in Babylon, America, as well as worldwide. So our job is to give the people the warning, whether they will hear or not. Let's read it again. To whom shall I speak and give warning that they may hear? This is Jeremiah speaking, of course. Behold, their ear is uncircumcised. All right, so we know you have physical circumcision, but you also have what? Spiritual circumcision. And through the sacrifice of Yahawah Shai, we've been brought back to the Lord Yahawah. We were given a second chance from going off in the Old Testament, sinning, piling sin upon sin, despite the Lord Yahawah sending prophet after prophet. Let me begin again. Behold, their ear is uncircumcised, and they cannot hearken. Behold, the word of the Lord is unto them a reproach. They have no delight in it. So you have many scorners and scoffers who are against this word, this true word of Yahawah Bashem Yahawah Shai, and that's all right. That's all right. That's why the Lord has 2/3 that are going to be destroyed on this side here in Babylon, America. So let's go to a precept, John. Let's go to John chapter 12, and let's get verse 37. John chapter 12 and verse 37, and it reads, Let's read that in the NLT. John 12 and verse 37 in the NLT, and it reads, as soon as I get it up here, John 12 and 37. But despite all the miraculous signs Yahawah had done, most of the people still did not believe in him. So you had people back then who are most likely the 2/3 that are back now through a thing called reincarnation. So back during Yahawah's time, he did many, many miracles, and people still didn't believe that he was the Messiah, despite him being predicted on coming upon the planet Earth by many of the prophets in the Old Testament. So many did not believe despite him doing miracle after miracle because their hearts had been hardened. Like Elder Apostle Hart says, and many of the brothers from Great Millstone have said, there is a predestination for those who are part of the 2/3 that are not going to be saved on this side, and a predestination for the 1/3 here in Babylon, America, and select elect throughout the world. All right, so the elect have been predestined for their position to be saved on this side, and the 2/3 of our people who are not going to hearken to this word, they have been predestined for their position before the beginning, before the foundation of the world. So let's read John 12 and verse 38, the KJV. Let me read John 12 and verse 37, the KJV again. But though he had done so many miracles before them, yet they believed not on him, on Yahawah, that the saying of Esaias or Isaiah, the prophet, might be fulfilled, which he spake, Lord, who hath believed our report? Our report, and to whom hath the arm of the Lord been revealed? So the elect of the Lord, okay? The elect are coming back to the Lord in this day and age via the prophets who are back again through a thing called reincarnation. The spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. So the prophets are back again now on the highways and byways, doing thousands of lessons, all right? Getting out the word for our people to repent and convert. So the only people who are going to hearken to this word or believe our report about Yahawah and the good news are the elect. In the arm of the Lord, okay, that's Yahawah. He's the arm of the Lord. Let's read verse 39. John 12, verse 39. Therefore they could not believe, because that Isaiah said again, he had blinded their eyes. So Yahawah has blinded the eyes of the 2/3. That they should not see with their eyes, nor understand with their heart, and be converted, and I should heal them. So the 2/3 are predestined for their position, just as the elect are predestined for their position. The Lord has a particular script and role for everybody in this big movie production that we're involved in. So we hope to be on the good side and get, be amongst the elect. Lord willing, we continue in the faith. Let's read verse 41. John 12 and verse 41. These things said Isaiah when he saw his glory and spake of him, meaning Isaiah seen the future glory of the Messiah. Many other prophets seen the future glory of the Messiah, Yahawah. So it was predestined that he would be here on the planet Earth in human form, the only begotten Son of Yahawah. Let's go to Jeremiah 5 for a precept. Jeremiah chapter 5, and let's get verse 3. Jeremiah 5 and verse 3, and it reads, O Lord, are not thine eyes upon the truth? Thou hast stricken them, but they have not grieved. Okay, so, we've been punished time and time again ever since Moses gave us those laws, statutes, and commandments in the wilderness, okay? Ever since we came into our land of Israel with Joshua. So time and time again, okay, we have been stricken and consumed with punishment, but still fail to see. All right, so let's read this again. Jeremiah 5 and verse 3. O Lord, are not thine eyes upon the truth? Thou hast stricken them, but they have not grieved. Even to this day, our people are being strict. stricken. First to be fired, last to be hired. Police brutality. All right, you're in the roughest places in the country and around the world. You're in the ghettos, the barrios, the reservations. All right. Let's read this. Thou hast consumed them, but they refuse to receive correction. They have made their faces harder than a rock. They have refused to return. So we have to still go ahead and fish for the elect, no matter what. Preach the gospel, preach the word, whether they will listen or not. We're looking for the elect, the remnant. Jeremiah 5 and verse 4. Therefore, I said, surely these are poor, they are foolish, for they know not the way of the Lord, nor the judgment of their God, Yahawah. So many of our people, despite the warnings going out, they have no understanding of the impending judgment with Yahawah at the forefront on the day of the Lord via nuclear missiles and laser fire from the chariots. So Judgment Day, the day of the Lord is coming. So we are giving the warning to the people to take heed, to do your best to fear the Lord. Okay, the fear of the Lord, the beginning of knowledge and wisdom is the fear of the Lord. So once you fear the Lord or have reverence for the Lord Yahawah, you're going to do your best to what? To stand in righteousness, to walk in the Spirit, to call upon Yahawah and His Son Yahawah, to do your best to put off wickedness or even the appearance of evil. So let's continue. Let's go to another precept, Jeremiah 4 in verse 22, and it reads, says here, for my people, so that's an indication that we are the people of Yahawah, the so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans here in Babylon, America, and scattered throughout the world like the sand of the seashore. We are the people, the chosen people of Yahawah. So let's begin again. Jeremiah 4 and verse 22. For my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children, which means stupid. And they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good, they have no knowledge. So our people are wise to do evil. You see, wise to commit adultery, wise to commit murder, wise to steal and rob, wise to put a whole bunch of tattoos on their body, wise to do evil. You see what I'm saying? Point blank. So let's continue. Let's go to let's do 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 3. 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 3, and it reads, the NLT. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 3, the NLT. For a time is coming when people will no longer listen to sound and wholesome teaching. They will follow their own desires and will look for teachers who will tell them whatever their itching ears want to hear. So our people want to hear smooth things, as it says in Isaiah, I believe, chapter 30. They want to hear smooth things. There ain't no such thing as Jacob's trouble. There ain't no such thing as the C-HIP, the radio frequency identification device known as what? The MOTB. That these elites of these Edomites are going to try to convince you to put in your forehead or your hands. So our people want to hear, smooth things. There's going to be no calamity. Esau is cool, man. Esau is our friend, the so-called white man, the devil. I got a whole bunch of white friends. And I'm not saying every white person is an Edomite, because you have some that look like they're, a white person, so-called white person, but they're an Israelite because their lineage goes back to Jacob, and vice versa. You have some so-called blacks that look like they're what? Hebrew Israelites, but they're really Edomites because their lineage goes back to who? Back to Esau. You are who your father is. But like I said, many of our people have itching ears. They don't want to deal with, the reality of being, a part of this, being a Hebrew Israelite. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to be involved. They don't know what they're involved in, so to speak. So they want everything to be smooth, and it ain't going to be a smooth walk to the kingdom. So for many of our people, this word is a reproach to them, okay? They rebuke it because they don't want to be corrected. They discredit it because they don't want to get in line and do their best to walk, spiritually upright to the best of their ability. So on that, let's read verse 4. 2 Timothy 4, in verse 4, the NLT, they reject the truth and chase after myths. So that's your wacky-tacky Christians with the virgin conception of Yahawah saying Yahawah didn't have a father. His father was Joseph, saying that Mary was impregnated by the angel Gabriel. So you have many myths, all right? You also have the Old Testament Hebrew Israelites who don't acknowledge Yahawah as the Messiah. Okay, when he comes in the volume of the book, the whole book is about Yahawah from the beginning until the end. So on that note, I want to give all praises to Yahawah, Bahashem Yahawah Bahashem Rakakwadash. I hope this lesson was edifying to you. Shalom.